Our industry is full of acronyms, some that we can easily forget, and it doesn't really matter, but we have some that can either make or break your company. They should be at the core of everything you do. And today we're speaking of CRM, a customer relationship management tool. Finding and using one is critical to your company's success, from the cold call to everything in the middle and beyond. But don't choose just any CRM. Choose one specifically for the restoration industry, adopt it into your company, and use it to succeed. And to do that today, I'm pleased to welcome Jeff Brattel, the Vice President of CRM Solutions at CoreLogic. Jeff, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. And I'm glad you have an easy name for me to remember.
Yeah, it's convenient, Jeff.
It's very convenient. Yeah. But to get right into our topic today, you know your way around a CRM. Why don't you set the stage here for us? Tell us what CoreLogic has done for the industry with its CRM.
Yeah, it's such a great question because our CRM was developed specifically for restoration. Years ago, it was Luxor CRM, and over time, it was acquired by NextGear, and then part of the acquisition that made us CoreLogic. It was founded by a gentleman named Lucas Shirosky, and many people in restoration know Lucas. Lucas has a really sharp mind for sales, and he built the foundation upon which it was expanded. And as we started to grow into restoration, we kind of pushed our way out of other industries and started focusing more and more on what is the unique need of restoration contractors in their efforts to grow their business and drive themselves forward. And so the tool has been constantly evolving into something very specific. You know, it doesn't fit. If we went out and jumped into the the commercial space, it wouldn't fit. It's not designed for them. It's really designed for the restoration contractor. And so built into it are sales methodologies that drive best practice automatically. It's wired into the software. But these are best practices that relate to this industry, not just, generalized best practices. And it carries with it a lot of really important data-driven insights. And those insights are pulled from information that's specific to what we do. And so I think those components really are what set it apart. It would be very hard to take a, off-the-counter white boxed product that's built for every industry in the world and make it fit your business because it wasn't built with your business in mind. That's such an important distinction, Jeff.
Yeah, I've heard of people trying to pull something off the shelves. Like, it turns out to be an address book, and to be fair, for the most part, if it's made for everybody.
I think that's right. I think if you don't see how the tools of it fit what you're trying to do, or if they're not built for what you're trying to do, it becomes the most expensive digital Rolodex you've ever owned.
We don't want that. No.
We do not.
Very good. Can you tell us what's inside Restoration CRM that makes it so powerful?
Yeah, I think what really sets it apart is we've built it on 5 pillars of business growth that relate to every restoration contractor. And so that's data integrity, lead generation, production selling, sales enablement, and sales leadership. And what really stands out or jumps out is maybe not the individual functions. The bells and whistles are really exciting, but it's the core underlying purpose. So our data integrity tools allow us to maintain a higher level of data accuracy inside your systems, and tools that are designed to drive bad data out, to force you to clean it up. Because as we both know, in 2024, the whole world runs on data. And if you're collecting data poorly or ineffectively, and you don't have the tools to show you that and drive new behaviors and better collection, you end up with a giant digital Rolodex instead of anything else, right? And then you look across it and you go like, there's such great tools in it to help owners. So many of the owners that I'm sure you've talked to, definitely that I've talked to, have never had to manage salespeople before. And one of their challenges is, I don't actually know what to do other than to hire them and point them in a certain direction and hope they can execute. these tools are built not just to equip the salesperson, but to equip people to understand how to manage salespeople and how to help hold them accountable and keep them focused strategically. And so there's really powerful features within the system that really drive these great behaviors, and they're all focusing on different areas of the business growth.
I think those watching this, Jeff, are probably thinking, what's in it for me? Now you've laid that out a bit, but for you, what are your favorite benefits of this tool? Things that people be like, yeah, I really need that.
So I love a couple of things. I'll tell you, one of them, our most recent releases, I really love. Our campaign automation feature allows you to build a set of rules in a very user-friendly interface. And so you could say, hey, whenever we get our first referral from a customer, I want a series of things to happen. And the first thing I want to do is make sure the salesperson phones them. Then I want to send them a package so they know more about us. Then I want to wait a month and I want to do this. And maybe I want to trickle into a drip campaign from there. And then I'd like to go through a sales process with them. You can build rules. And then once those rules are published, you can walk away and the system will run that process for you indefinitely until you unpublish it. And so what we're seeing is a whole host of adoption from people who are potentially in a situation where they go, I don't have a salesperson, but I would love to be building the brand in my local market without having to dedicate a ton of time to an area that maybe they don't have a ton of experience in. This tool unlocks for them a ton of automation and cuts down on administration, but really pushes the brand forward in their marketplace. So I love that piece of it. But I'm a sales guy at heart. I'll tell you what I really love. I love the sales meetings that it generates, the way we're able to look at really good business information and ask really tough questions that force salespeople to think more strategically and take better actions in pursuit of the results they're trying to get to. And so the views that we have and the methodology of those sales meetings, to me, are invaluable. I think salespeople sell more, which usually means they make more. And owners, of course, are always happy when salespeople sell more. So both of those processes really, to me, are exciting features that can be taken advantage of.
Jeff, what did contractors do 25 years ago?
So a lot of spreadsheets, a lot of fingers crossed. I hope my salesperson's doing the right thing. A lot of hey, I think they own the relationships, and even though I'm not seeing the results, I feel uncertain or uncomfortable with maybe parting ways with them, or they're asking for a raise and I have no way to tell if I should give them one or not. Like, I think there was a lot of hope, which we would all tell you is not a great strategy. You
Hope is
should
not a
build with
strategy.
hope, but you should have information to cause strategy, right? It's a tough place. I'm so pleased that they don't have to be in that position anymore. I don't know how I would run a sales team if I didn't have tools at my disposal.
Yeah, what you describe is amazing, and hope isn't a strategy. So this takes care of strategy 100%. But here's when I talk to other people, Jeff, about all of the technology out there today, it seems like everyone focuses in on the marketing. Like I need someone to do the marketing. I need a tool to do the marketing. What you're describing goes much beyond that. But if someone is just thinking about marketing for a CRM, is that short-sighted?
I think it's limiting what the CRM can be for them. So yes, maybe short-sighted, maybe uninformed, but it's limiting. And the reason I say that is we do think of marketing tools when we think of CRM. Marketing teams have done a brilliant job of raising our understanding of their impact and what they can do. But we also should remember the purpose of marketing is to generate leads and build interest and brand awareness. And there's an entire step that takes place after that where we send out salespeople to understand pain points and do discovery and present value propositions and create agreements and commitments. And so there's two parts. And yes, you can look to marketing, and you may not have a person on staff who can go close sales today. And marketing can help really elevate your brand identity in the local market and create interest and awareness. but don't limit yourself in the long term, because salespeople and that sales related tool is really the fuel that accelerates growth.
Okay, very good. I think we should talk about accuracy. What you're discussing here involves artificial intelligence and data, all those components. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, that's such a great, it's a big topic. We could just talk about data accuracy for ages. I think we start with a really simple understanding. Everybody will have heard this probably more times than they want to talk about, but garbage in, garbage out. And so a lot of us have processes where we value one or two pieces of intake information when we're getting that first notice of loss, but maybe not all the right ones for down the road. And so the problem is, down the road, we're looking back at all the jobs we've done, hoping we can mine it for really valuable data, and none of the information is there. So I think a couple of things happen here. Inside of CRM, we merge two pools of data. The first pool of data is the pool created by sales and marketing professionals. It's how they interact and combine and contribute information. But the second pool of data comes from production and administration. It's the finances, it's the job information. It's, did we lose it? Did we close it? What stage is it in? How often do we get jobs from these people? Like all that. And when you bring the two of them together, that's when you start to empower all that intelligence that starts driving process and showing you all your opportunities that are being missed or that you could capitalize on more. If you understand that relationship, then the kind of things that we face on a regular basis don't happen. You don't look up and realize somebody you think of as a really good business partner hasn't sent you work in 6.5 months. And you just don't, the human brain doesn't pick up time the same way that data does. Data would start screaming 30 days in, something's wrong, they're not sending work, but your brain's like, no, we're great. I just talked to him the other day. And it's not saying to you, well, you remember the conversation, but for you, the other day was, 45 days ago, 50 days ago. It just doesn't process the same way. And so accuracy on intake of data and completeness of the data is a critical part of building an engine that drives growth.
It's easy to argue with people, but I suppose arguing with data makes you a fool.
It does not put you in a winning position, that's for sure.
Yeah. So this was built for restoration. Let's talk about that. So CoreLogic and all your teams, all your team members there put this together. How did you look at the industry? What did you do to make sure that this is exactly what the industry needs before you launch this product?
Yeah, such a good question. And I think to the credit of Lucas, who started it, one of the things he understood quickly is that while most boxed editions of CRMs are built to sell widgets, we are not a widget selling industry. We are relationally driven, long-term multi-interaction sales partners. And that requires a different approach. And so a lot of conversations got held with business owners who were looking for solutions to understand what pains the business owners experience in hiring, managing, and in motivating salespeople, and a lot of conversations about daily performance with salespeople. What are the duties that they go through? What are the challenges that they run into? Who do they call on? What verticals are they in? What's the selling process look like? And we have some background in sales consulting. And so we've done a lot of direct work leading sales teams. And as a result of that, knowing what has worked and what hasn't worked in different verticals in the industry, all of that over probably the last 12 to 13 years in restoration has really given us the fuel to set a vision that makes the product uniquely fitted to this space.
Now, I either seen on your website or I've heard CoreLogic refer to all of this as an ecosystem.
Right.
Talk about that. That's an interesting term for the product.
Yeah, so we do talk about the ecosystem, and we talk about it in terms of things like interoperability. What is a Dash user's experience when they plug CRM in? and do they speak to each other, and is it in real time, and how does the data flow, and what does that mean? And so the answer is, when we build ecosystems, we're trying to build solution sets that are plugged together to make a greater whole, so that those partners of ours who say, hey, I need CRM, and I need, the dash system, and I need, mitigate, and I need this, they have an experience that doesn't require duplicate entry, gets the right information to the right users in the right platform in real time, or as close to real time as is possible. And so from a CRM standpoint, there's a lot of interaction with the dash system, because it's driving all the production knowledge, and we want to mine the production knowledge to inform the sales strategy as we move forward. And so that interaction is real time, end to end. So you could be in the mobile on CRM, put in a note, and it flows into CRM over to Dash, and it's available in the mobile on Dash like 2 seconds later. And I think that's really important, because we live in a very fast-paced industry. And so that connective tissue of data flow is incredibly important. And we've done we made a concerted effort to be building in the direction of that ecosystem that supports contractors in real time.
Nice. You kind of stole my next question. I was going to ask about, how do you use this product? I know it doesn't come on a CD-ROM.
Right.
So,
You're dating us now talking about CD-ROMs, Jeff.
oh, I know I shouldn't have said it, but I did. And I'm not going to erase this either. So, but seriously, you mentioned mobile.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about how it just works everywhere in a company?
Yeah. So I think that's a really there's a clear division. There's two platforms really on the CRM side. There's the mobile application, and then there's the web browser. The web browser is really where a lot of the administrative work would get done. It's where the auditor who cleans data would spend some time working in that space. It's where a sales meeting would get held from, because it's big information sets. But we also built a mobile application because we understand salespeople need to be on the road. They need to be out doing things, and they need the tools and the information at their fingertips without having to fire up a laptop. And we have lots of people who still tell me, "Oh yeah, but I still like the laptop, so I take it with me and I hotspot it." I'm like, that sounds so tedious to me, but that's what they're comfortable with. We built the mobile so that they could move away from that, just carry the phone and have all the power and information of what's going on in the business in their back pocket. And so it's really designed so that the daily out hustling salesperson pulls up the mobile and knows, what newest updates on jobs, has anything new come in, I'm about to walk into a meeting, what are my notes from last time, who do I need to get to, where are my priorities? They can really jump into that stuff very quickly. And yet at the same time, whether it's weekly or bi-weekly or monthly, look at it at a more strategic level in the browser version, where they get a bigger set of data. They can pull more complex reports, or look at dashboards and understand trends that are going on, which may then shape how they engage the next week or two on the road.
Okay. So you mentioned users. So whether you have 1, 5, 20, 50, 100 users out there, am I speaking possibilities here?
You are, absolutely. We have every number you've just said. We have a customer that has that many.
Okay, now, so what about real-time updates and all these users using the same, one company, all this activity going on? Talk about that. How does that all work?
So a couple of things happen. One, the updates of activity going in and notes and people looking at information are all happening in real time simultaneously. And so let's say you and I happen to both be at a conference, and I just talked to Joe, but I forgot to put my notes in, and you're talking to Joe live, and you're doing a great job of putting your notes in, and we both hit enter at the same moment. There's whatever that microsecond difference is as it connects and logs it, it'll just stack them. Your note will come first, my note will come second, and everybody will be able to see that one was me and one was you, and one happened like a split second before the other one. And it all goes in real time. So if you and I, like, let's say I'm sloppy about it and I didn't put mine in for 2 days, when I put it in, it says I put it in on 2 days, and I can't go in and lie to the system and say, oh no, it was 2 days earlier. I did it before Jeff did it. It won't let me do that. It needs me to have the right disciplines and not count on I'll get to it some other time.
Nice. Let's talk about, I guess we could say, the proverbial elephant in the room, because those watching this and customers, they must wonder about their own information. Talk about security, privacy, data protection. How does that all work?
So I was encouraged by some people in our company to give you an elephant related security answer, and I need you to know that I refuse to do that. It felt unnatural to reference Hannibal going over the mountains with elephants being as strategic as our security is. So I'm going to skip right to it and say, like, we have embraced a really aggressive policy as it relates to data security. We're maintaining industry standard certifications like SOC 2 Type 2 and others that go with it. But we're also always looking at improvements in security that allow us to provide better protection of all sources of data. As you know, Jeff, we have partners across the spectrum of the industry, including everything from carriers all the way to small contractors and every size in between. And so we have to uphold the most stringent data security requirements that meet everybody's needs. We do that in a number of ways, including having independent auditors and security testers evaluate our defenses on a regular basis. And we do defense in depth strategy, which allows us to leverage or kind of put multiple layers of security on top of each other just to lock things down as tight as possible. And so we have really committed ourselves to ongoing work to stay at the forefront of data security. I mean, when you have the volume and the scope of data that CoreLogic has, it has to be among our top priorities.
Well, Jeff, thank you for all this today. Fantastic innovation. Congratulations to you and your team. You know, those watching now want to know, how do I learn more? How do I get my own CRM from CoreLogic? Tell us about it.
Well, it's pretty simple. You're going to open up your web browser. You're going to type in CoreLogic.com/restoration. All of our products are there. You'll have a look at the product page and pick CRM, and you can start learning, and you can reach out and ask for demos and whatever else you might need.